last video I showed you how to make a spoke custom wheel, and in this video I am going to show you how to make a subtractive wheel. Right, with any shape that you want, you can turn it into a hole. Alright, so what you're going to do is first find your file with all of your wheels on the work plane, and you're going to click Tinker this. And as you can see, my spoke wheel is out here from last time, so I'm going to just switch this out and grab a new blank wheel, where we're going to be making a subtractive wheel. So what that means is you could take any of these solid shapes, right? You could even use the scribble tool and, create your own custom shape, and then you can subtract the material from this wheel to make it look like whatever shape, whether it be that custom shape that I just talked about, or even like a sphere, circle, and cut out that shape for it to make that shape in the middle of your wheel. So basically cut out the design that you choose. Alright, so what that means is I first have to pick out a shape to use, or I can draw and scribble a custom shape to pick from. So I don't know, I'm going to pick, we'll do a heart. Right, so it doesn't have to be a heart, it could be a star. Like I said, it could be a circle, it could be another cylinder, it could be a square, it could be a custom scribble. But for right now, just to practice, I'm going to use the heart shape just to show you how this works. But later, you could use any custom shape you want for your custom wheels. So like I said, this is just practice. So don't think that this is what your custom wheels are going to look like, right? Just like with the spokes, you could change that up as well. But right now, we're just practicing how to make the subtractive wheel. So what I'm going to do is you're going to drag on any shape that you want. And right here, you could see that it is a solid, right? But I said we want this shape to be cut out in the middle or on the outside of our wheel that we have right now. So we have to make that a hole so it cuts through. Alright, then after that, you can bring it over to your wheel, right? And right now, I can't see it in my wheel. That's just because I have to adjust the height. So like I said in my prior videos, it doesn't matter how high you make your hole because you're cutting through anyway, right? So you're just cutting through the air at that point. But I'm going to lift mine up pretty high. And then now you could see in that darker shaded area that that's what that heart is going to come cut out, right? So it's going to cut out in that space. So right now, as you could see, this heart is way too big, right? So I have to make this a little bit smaller, and I want these hearts to go around my wheel. Okay, so you can do whatever you want with your shape. You can make it any sizes you want. You could put it in any orientation that you want, but I'm gonna make a couple of these hearts the same size, because I kind of like this size, to place all around so it cuts the whole entire circumference of the wheel. Alright, so once you get your design the right size, what you should do is you should push it through, because if you look right now, if I rotate this, right, the heart you could see on the bottom, but just to make sure, because like I mentioned before, TinkerCAD's weird, alright, we want to make sure that it actually does cut through the whole entire wheel. Now when you go and make your actual custom wheels, if you want to push it only halfway through, so it doesn't cut all the way through, you could do that as well, right? Like I said, your custom wheels that you're making later, that's up to you. But for right now, we're going to push this all the way through by using, and I'll zoom in, by using this black cone button right here, right? You could push it up or down depending on your liking, but I'm going to kind of push it halfway through there, so half of it is sticking out from the bottom, half is from the top, and it looks like that about. Right, then once you have that done, now we can copy and paste this shape and put it all around this wheel, right, depending on where you want your designs to go. So all you have to do is make sure that whatever you want to copy and paste is highlighted. So I'm just going to click on the heart again to make sure it's selected. Click Control C, then Control V, and then I'll just move my hearts around my wheel like this. Alright, so I have my 4 hearts, right, that look like this. And of course I could leave it like this, right? Or what you could also do is rotate these hearts, right? So they're either 90 degrees turned or 180 degrees, so they're like facing a different way depending on how the wheels turn on the dragster. So you'll see what I mean in a second. So let's just say I want to take this left heart here and move it 90 degrees to the left. All I have to do is click on the heart so it's selected, and then that double arrow again, you could either click on it and drag it over, which I'm going to do just because I find that easier, or you could really, all you have to do is just type in 90 degrees in the box, right? And then you could reposition it. Same thing with this one over here, just going to turn that way, which you saw kind of like snap me back to where I originally had it, so if that just happens, that's fine. Just change it over here, so I'm going to put minus 90, right, so it flips the other way. Then the last one on top, right, I could just type in 180 and it will go in like that. Now, of course, right, like this isn't perfectly centered around this whole entire wheel, so you could either click on your shape and drag it to your desired area, right? Or what you could do is you can use the arrows on your keyboard if you want to move it slightly. That's probably an easier way of moving your shapes. So once you get it to the area you want, you're good to group. But, you know, if you're finicky like I am and you want this absolutely perfect, there is another way to make sure that all of these hearts are perfectly centered. So what you can do is you can draw that red box that we used to highlight all of our design aspects with. So how I did that was I clicked off to the side of my 3D drawing over here, click and hold, and then move my finger so it creates the dotted red box around what I want to center. Let go so everything's highlighted. And then you're going to click that align tool that we used for the basic wheel to center that plastic part in the wheel. You're going to click that, and then you're going to click on those 2 middle dots, right? So I just clicked the one on the y-axis, and you're going to click the middle black dot on the x-axis, and then it'll look like this. And then you can click off to the side. So now all of the hearts are in the center right now. This is probably the trickiest part of finding which heart goes where, which you'll see what I mean in a second. But you're just going to click anywhere. And right now one of the hearts is selected in the center of this wheel. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see which one it is. Alright, so I did select the right one, actually, which is surprising. Alright, so that goes to the top of the wheel, right, because I rotated it to look like the top. So I'm going to bring it back down to the center. So what you're going to do is, to make sure all of these are even around the wheel, you have to count how many times you click on the arrow keys on your keyboard to get it to the spot that you want. So for example, right, this one I said is going to go right up here on the top of my wheel. I'm going to count, and again I'm going to use the top arrow key on my keyboard to move this. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, I'll stop at 10 because that's a nice number. Alright, so I move this 10 places. So when I find the other ones to move them in the other places, I have to do the same thing and count to 10, so it's equally spaced around this whole wheel. So I'll go with this one, so let's see what it is. So I did click the right one, so now we're going to click 10 times to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, there we go. Now this one, 10 clicks to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then of course the last one, 10 clicks down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there you go. So now they should all be spaced evenly. Now, of course, right, like I noticed when I did this right one, I went an extra one because I liked how it looked better, right? But you should wait and do that when you're in this part, right? So that's why I brought it back. So now I can go and hit each one extra so it moves a little bit further out. And there you go. All right, so once you have everything settled, either you do it this way or you just do it by eye, it's up to you. You're good to group. So to group, right, we're getting that big red dotted box out again. So you're going to click off to your design, click, hold, draw a box around your design, let go, everything is highlighted, and you're going to go up to the top right and click on the group button, which is this one right here. Once you click group, it'll turn red, and don't get worried when it turns red. But then you'll see finally it'll cut out, in my case they're little hearts, but in your case it'll cut out whatever shape you chose. Alright, and it'll look like this, right? And it went all the way through. You can always check by going to the bottom of your wheel. And then of course you can go to the solid section and change your color. Right, so it's up to you. And there you go. All right, and that is how you make a subtractive wheel. So like I've been saying, you don't have to, of course, do a heart, right? So it depends on your aesthetic of your dragster and how you want it to look, but take advantage of making your wheels look cool, because I said this year is different. We have to use TinkerCAD to make our CO2 dragsters. We're not making them out of wood, where we would have to follow really specific specifications and actually use just pre-made wheels that we would just slap onto axle rods, right? So we're not using those black plastic wheels. We get to make our own cool custom wheels. So definitely take advantage of that and make your wheels look cool. All right, so this could be another option, whether it be, right, the spoke that I showed you last time, or now we have the subtractive wheel that you could choose from to make something with, and then the next video is going to be an additive wheel. All right, so a spike additive wheel.